Hi all, today you're gonna see how I make my famous kimchi recipe. I only have one thing to say about it. You can do whatever you want with this recipe. Substitute any ingredient. You can use any kind of cabbage, any kind of spices, but you cannot omit nor substitute this. This is called Gochugaru. It's basically Korean sweet, pretty mild pepper flakes. And you can find them pretty much in any Asian store for pretty cheap. I bought these a couple years ago and they still last, so it's pretty convenient. Now let's check the recipe. Alright, so this is a medium-sized head of Napa cabbage. It weighs around 4 pounds. As you can see, I'm cutting it at the base and then I go ahead and split it with my hands. There you go, just like that. Just like the Koreans traditionally do it. Flip it over and again cut it at the base and then split it with my hands lengthwise. I repeat this process a few more times until there you go, until I end up with something looking like that. You can keep it this way, or you can do as I do and cut it into bite-sized pieces, which I find to be very convenient. After everything is chopped up, I go ahead and transfer it in a strainer that sits in a bowl, and I'm gonna wash the living hell out of it. Not once, but twice. And don't be stingy with the water. We don't want any residual pesticides in our kimchi, right? Oh, by the way, do you see these bigger chunks of cabbage? Don't throw them away because they're gonna turn out delicious. I rinsed everything twice and that's how it's looking so far. Now we're gonna take 2 big handfuls of salt, one for each batch, and give this cabbage a good long deserved rub. The salt is gonna drain all the water content out of the cabbage leaves, and don't worry, because once it's done we will get rid of it, well, most of it, again with water. After that I let it sit for 2 to 3 hours, and at the end of that time I soaked it in water for about half an hour. This beauty here is a Japanese radish called Daikon, but don't worry, if you don't have it, any kind of radish is fine. I took 1/3 of it, peeled it, and made matchsticks out of it. And same goes for the carrot. I peeled it and cut it into matchsticks. Okay, I know this is one, but I actually took 2 spring onions and chopped them finely. Chop, 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 chop. Yes, that's how everything looks so far. Now let's take a little piece of ginger and 4 garlic cloves and put them in the blender along with 2 teaspoons of raw unheated honey. Splash of water. Maybe 2 splashes of water, and 1 small little onion, or half a big one. Shrimp time! Okay, so cleaning shrimps is fairly easy, right? You just separate the head from the body, you remove the shell, the legs, and you're done, right? Wrong! You also must remove the vein, the intestine, that's inside every shrimp. Look at this one. This one has it pretty dark, so it's easy to remove, but some of them have it transparent and you still gotta remove it, alright? Use your fingers, a toothpick, a knife, it doesn't matter as long as you remove it. How do you like some shrimp poop? Okay, so after removing the poop, rinse them well under the water and then chop them into smaller pieces. That's what we made so far. Now it's about time we spice things up. This is some delicious fish sauce. Just use only a couple spoonfuls of it because the flavor is really strong and it's very, very salty. You don't want it to overpower all the other flavors. Here comes Gochugaru, the star of the show. If you really can't do spicy, I suggest you add only a couple spoonfuls of this, and it's gonna be fairly mild. Now you can add the ginger, onion, garlic mixture to the mix. Now, some people use gloves for mixing, but I'm just gonna be the man and feel the burn. If you're like me and you like it spicy, you can actually add more pepper flakes. Here I added, what's it gonna be? Another couple spoonfuls. And mix. Okay, here a couple minutes later, I have no idea why, but things started getting a little bit crazy, and apparently my masochistic ass decided to add even more pepper flakes. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's really not necessary. Anyway, this is what we ended up with. Pretty cool, huh? Now we just need to add this beautiful bright red mixture to the cabbage and it's done. Make sure to take your time here and spread it really well. Now we're gonna transfer everything into a mason jar and we're gonna push down really hard with our knuckles because we don't want any air bubbles trapped in. Now we're done and we made some delicious kimchi. You're gonna open it every day for the first 10 days and each time you open it, make sure to push everything down and you're gonna start seeing some bubbles and it's all good. It means it's working. After that time, you can open it less but keep an eye on it. If it's really warm in your house, put it in the fridge, leave it there and check it from there. You can start eating it from the first couple of weeks, even before that, but in my opinion, the best kimchi I've ever tried, and I made it, was 3 months old.